This is different, and I love it, man, because it got me thinking like I was back at school again. I don't even know where you come up with these questions. I want to know how you come up with these kids. You're so innovative. I'm like, look, I mean, your mind is good. Like you say, you're a history teacher, and your mind is going all over the place. So,
and it's also wonderful to hear people talk sanely to each other.
You have something amazing going with the show because you're there and you're educating us.
Sure. Your platform gives us an opportunity to really let our guard down. And I've never told anybody in public about that experience with my dad. And on your platform, I don't know why I did that, because it's so comfortable and we're talking about things that matter.
I love the little anecdote of comedy with your would you pay for it? Would you not? I love that. I love how you added that in to kind of break up the tension a little bit because it gets serious.
We want to know people's stories,
I concur.
And that's what TKN does, So I love
uplifting human being. Last name Ferrigno, first name Lou. Lou, welcome, my friend.
Thank you. That's the best introduction I've ever heard in my life. You know something? You need to quit the show and be my moderator and travel with me.
Together for a majestic, out of this world, one of a kind human being. First name Vivica, last name Fox. Welcome, my friend.
Whoa, that was an awesome introduction. Let me tell you that. I don't think I've ever had anyone read my resume with such flow.
Bobby is a poet, but he doesn't know it, but his feet show it.
You're unbelievable.
Last name Wilkins, first name Lenny. Lenny, welcome, my friend, to the celebrity tournament.
Well, thank you for having me, and I'm excited about it. I'm looking forward to this. It should be fun.
Last name Murphy, first name Calvin. Calvin, welcome to the tournament, my friend.
Damn. You said it just like I wrote it.
But these rhymes are going to wind down as I've reached the home stretch, the one and only Tretch.
I appreciate a lot of these rappers out there.
You gave me good eargasm tonight, man. I love your voice. I love the things that you talk about.
Well, you're the best I've seen. You're the Michael Jordan or LeBron James, whoever you want to make the GOAT.
This is why your audiences love you. This is why you continue to great guests, and great guests beget great guests.
I just want to do this again and again. I feel like I've made friends. And again, I've taken the competition part of it out because I've just enjoyed talking to you guys tonight.
Oh man, most definitely. This is, I think my top. I think when you do the intro you gave me, I gotta get to. I like.
You deserve it.
I can count my friends on one hand. Well, wait, on one finger. You.
Oh man, thank you so much, my friend. Because if you don't heal from what hurts you, you'll bleed on people that never even cut you to begin with. It had nothing to do with your pain.
All right.
So
Tell him.
You guys are bringing the best out of me.
I mean, yes, pain is inevitable. I mean, there's a reason we have these sensors in our body. I mean, they're warning signs. In other words, something hurts. Obviously, something is amiss.
But she would sit at the kitchen table looking out the window for quite a period of time while the food was getting prepared. And I wish I took that time to sit down with her and ask her questions about her being a child, along with my aunts, my uncles, so I could not only be a blessing to her and know more and sympathize and love her more as a mother, but also to know more about myself and my sisters and understand where we've come from.
This thing has drawn me out of myself and thereby drawn me into myself. But I learned a lot. And from you, I always learn something from you.
Continue to work as hard as you can, because by working, Avi, you will keep yourself busy and get used to the grief.
More underrated, we have Billy D. Williams, Italian men named Skippy, or unicycle.
I'm sorry, Italian men named Skippy. Put me away, Avi.
Archie Bunker, the mountain climber. Ralph Cramden, the yoga instructor. Or Don Corleone, the computer repair person.
It's clearly an issue with the hard drive.
I'm going to go Don Corleone.
Here, the reason I'm going for Christmas is because it does create those amazing memories that I've, and Sarge, I know you've been there too, because I've seen you at so many different great events for Muscular Dystrophy Association.
You compete with yourself. So Joe Reed, especially working with him, taking pictures in the magazine, helping me to shape my body and educate my mind.
There are those of us who like to venture to the unexplored, to see the beauty in the strange and unknown. Those of us who go out there with a sense of wonder.
God, it matters not how straight the gate, how punishment charged the scroll. I am the master of my fate. I am the captain of my soul.
There is nothing that was on TV tonight that even remotely rivals what we did on this broadcast.
Hi, I'm Rick Barry, a member of the Basketball Hall of Fame and one of the NBA's top 50 players. And I'm really excited to tell you about my new relationship in the broadcasting world with the new network.
It's TKN, and a young man named Avi Klein has poured his blood, sweat, and tears into creating this new network and assembling an amazing group of individuals.
Legends from every walk of life who are just bringing their knowledge and their experience and their wisdom, and this is amazing. I feel like this is a cosmic convergence of what is most important to him, and he's such a stand-up guy.
Avi, congratulations. I don't know anybody that can talk as much as you. Seriously, I thought I could talk. You are unreal. But you do it with class, understanding, professionalism. You're simply amazing. I told you that when I first met you, and you ran off my autobiography. It basically was a book. It was simply fantastic. And to think that you do that every show.
It's very respectful, and he really connects with the artists and his audiences, and I felt like this guy's on to something, and I'm proud to be a part of this with him.
And I really thank your support. I lost my father, and you were the first person to support me and all that, and I thank you so much for that.
The greatest wealth is when you can share it with someone. You can share your victories, you can share your failure, you can express your deepest feelings, but the greatest wealth is to be able to say that I have a friend, and I feel an unbelievable level of wealth, and a lot of that is because I have somebody like you.
Bro, are you here to win the whole darn tournament?
I don't play, just win.
Robert, would you like to win this entire tournament?
You know, all those luminaries and athletes and strongmen notwithstanding, the most dangerous place on this show is between me and that prize. That's all I'm going to say.
You're chomping at the bit to get in this thing.
Yeah, man. I've been telling you, brother. You brought up some names to me, and I was like, I can't wait. I hope they don't see me because it's going to be on like a steaming pot of neck bones, baby, and I'm not playing.
Are you here to win the entire thing, my friend?
I'll just say this, Avi. Winner, winner, chicken dinner.
But are you here to win the entire celebrity tournament when it's all said and done?
I saw a very familiar face in Mike Rotundo, better known as IRS, and he said that he was here for the winner, winner, chicken dinner, and I want to take away that chicken dinner, so yes, I want to win this whole shebang.
Last name Smith, first name Joe. Joe Smith, welcome, my friend.
Oh my God, Avi. Where did you get all of that from? Oh my God.
Guys and gals and pals, welcome again to a festive night, because here we are. 1, we're alive, check. B, we have each other, check. And C, we're going to have a darn good time, because guys and gals and pals, this is a place where we have philosophical fun, and strangers always leave as friends. I worked for a studio for nearly 20 years that told me, a film studio, one of the best on this planet. They told me that we couldn't bring people together without controversy. I told them, ha. I'm proud of that fact, because what we do here is clean. We have good old-fashioned fun. We listen by always loving and learning. And that's what this show is all about. It is what I epitomize, guys and gals, which is positivity across the board. And you have made this particular show absolutely fantastic. Thank you, guys and gals, for being the engine that makes this thing go. We are nearly 4 million strong because of all of you. And we're doing it here in the digital sphere. So, guys, let's get ready for 100% edutainment, as always, with our first participant right now, as I bring him in. Guys and gals and pals, our first participant grew up in Stamford, Connecticut, and he went to Rippewan High School, where he was a football, basketball, and baseball star, as the masses would cheer this man who was well-rounded and sharp like a Morgan named Pierce. He had it all like a mid-'80s department store named Sears. He was also the only football player in Connecticut history to be named All-State for 3 years. He was the student body president and lead in the senior play, and soon USC came calling with a scholarship offer. But let's go back to a year in which RFK was killed while giving a speech. LBJ elected not to run again, as the Tet Offensive in Vietnam sucked like a leech. And we assumed that Nixon win again would be quite the reach. MLK was assassinated the day Frank Zappa predicted it while being interviewed on a beach. And yes, these events all took place in 1968, but the Dodgers took notice of someone who was excelling in his chosen craft, as that year they made him the first choice in the free agent draft. Steve Garvey and Bill Buckner all became Dodgers that year, but this man was selected before any of them. All one had to do was observe his range and versatility to realize that he was quite the gem. Some players take several years to make it to baseball's minor league ladder, while even some settle in that lane. Let me be thorough and explain. Our guest skipped a couple of rungs and climbed quickly, as he was in Class A in 1968 and AAA the next year. In 1970, he hit 340 with 80 RBIs and led the Pacific Coast League in total bases with 324. Am I making it crystal clear? His opponents signed as the prospect of facing him made them wish that they could disappear. By 1971, he had reached the majors. But his story was only beginning, as the second chapter would unveil yet even more glory. When his playing days were over, he decided to open a restaurant in his hometown years before he would have eateries in Milford, Norwalk, and Stamford. But no one conferred when they heard the word that on May 16th, one day before the anniversary of an injury that changed his life, he was standing quite tall, for on that day he became the youngest manager in Major League Baseball. Although he was without a day of managerial experience at the time, the Texas Rangers selected him to replace Doug Rader and try to turn around a team that was on its way to an early burial in the American League West. But as I continue this mix, let me remind you all that he was America League Manager of the Year back in 1986. That year, the Mets won it all, as I was growing up in Queens. I was elated, like a kid buying G.I. Joes and clearance. But little did I know that when it came to the Mets, there would be a World Series disappearance. Until this man guided them back to the World Series in 2000, it was quite the thrill, like listening to a Rizzuto on the radio named Phil, or seeing Yankee fans get worked up as I suggested they take an Advil. Even a president named Bill admitted to being such a fan of this man as he departed the White House. So let me bring this man in. I know you're anxious. No need to argue with your spouse, as I welcome in a legend that gave us many smiles and endless glee. New York Met fans applauded his excellence and finally felt free. No matter where he went. We could all agree that he was the key. So get up your seats and howl like a baseball-loving banshee as I welcome a kind, talented, humble, intelligent human being. Last name Valentine. First name Bobby. Welcome to the tournament, my friend.
Well, as everybody who preceded me said, that was spectacular. Thank you for the intro. I think that was me you were talking about. I can't remember, you just turned 75.
God bless you. Well, let me tell you something. Wherever that fountain of youth that you're hiding, share it with all of us, my friend. Share that fountain of youth, please. You look great, Bobby.
Well, I walk my dogs every day. I've been blessed. I got a fake knee and a good heart, so everything's kind of cool.
My friend, listen, I'm getting to know you. I already know by the people we travel in the same circles. You've got a big old heart. You've got a beautiful smile. You've got great energy. You've got a positive attitude, and I thank you for being here tonight.
Yeah, more back at you. I know what you're trying to create. At least I feel what you're trying to create. And good luck. Have fun with it, dude.
Well, let me ask you this. 148 Hall of Famers and award winners are in the celebrity tournament. Winner goes to Greece, 5 days, 5 nights, 15 grand. Would you like to be the one that wins this entire celebrity tournament, Bobby Valentine?
Oh, yeah. Go all the way. All the way. You don't do anything unless you're trying to be the last one standing.
I love that, my friend. I'm going to keep you in on screen right now as I bring in our friend. Bobby, I'm going to put you backstage for one moment and then bring in our next guest. Mr. Bobby Valentine, guys and gals, we're glad he's here. He'll be in momentarily in about a minute as I bring in our next participant right now, who's a dear friend, who I've known for 8 years, who has given me sage advice, who helped me when we started this official network. He was there from day number one. Guys and gals and pals, success is the pursuit of progress despite failure. And a man that has a deep understanding of human nature and the world around him so happens to be my next guest. His work of art can be seen, heard, and felt because it's timeless. Both literally and figuratively, he has taken a blank canvas and filled it up with beautiful works of art because his expressions are wholehearted and they're authentic. He also happens to have a great sense of humor and an infectious laugh. Guys and gals, my next guest is inspiring as he is talented. He's worked with geniuses such as Joseph Chaikin, a wonder and a true great. Despite staying mute for 10 years, he was touring with him in Europe by 1968. He was born in Lynbrook, Long Island, and attended Brown, where he was a 3-sport athlete. He was cast in the stage production of Picnic. He didn't miss a beat. He continued learning his craft, never becoming stale. Next stop, you heard it right, the one and only Yale. He was drafted by the Patriots and was quite the runner, ranked number 9. Soon his truthful works of art would inspire many, including yours truly, Avi Klein. His work on The Serpent was remarkable. He portrayed the character of Cain. Such great colleagues as Bugbos, Shammy, and Maloney, he was able to pick their brain. He won 2 Obie Awards for Leaf People and Molly's Dream. He wowed the onlookers with such range in his performances regardless of the theme. You want to know who it is? Relax, no spoilers, I'm no cheater. He worked with John Vaccaro as well as Julian Beck at the Experimental Theater. He paints, he sculpts, he teaches, he directs as he writes. From Israel to Iran, from Algeria to Paris, he's performed on many stages and seen many sights. He's appeared in films that were nominated for an Oscar, to be exact 3. Born on the 4th of July is 1, but there are many more, and they all vary. As I welcome a kind and dedicated human being and friend. First name Raymond, last name Barry. Welcome, Mr. Raymond J. Barry. How are you, good sir?
Hello. How am I? I'm feeling good. I'm balanced.
Yeah.
Spiritually.
Sure.
Physically.
Sure.
Optimistic in my old age.
My friend, you look great. I got to tell you this. You know, we used to speak about twice a week for about 7 years. You have been such an incredible part of this journey for me, because along with Stephen Tobolowsky, who you recall being on with, and Rick Barry, and some of the people on this program that you also worked with and watched, like Lenny Wilkens, who our audience doesn't know, you played against Lenny Wilkens when he was in Providence, Raymond.
That's right. When I played for Brown. And Providence College was right there. So we played each other 2 or 3 times a year.
Yeah.
And they were always very talented. They had, future pro ball players. Our program was in the Ivy League, and, it was not as brilliant as Lenny Wilkens.
You're brilliant, and I don't just say that because you've taught many people, including yours truly, as a writer of 21 years professionally speaking. Sitting on your learning tree has been incredible. I know you sat under Joseph Chaikin, who's a genius, in his learning tree, how incredibly intelligent he was. I know you're very modest. I'm going to bring in Mr. Bobby Valentine right now, who's with us as well, and we will explore topic number one. Mr. Bobby Valentine, to our viewers, Mr. Raymond J. Barry, who's back after a few years. I'm going to set up topic number one, and I'll ask Bobby to kind of explore first whenever he's ready. But let me kind of bring this up. I call topic number one, history to the rescue. And in this topic, Bobby, you're going to go back in time in need of assistance. If you could go back in time, Bobby, and select one historical figure to help boost the morale or the spirits of a loved one in your life, which historical figure would you select and why? Which loved one of yours, past or present, could benefit from such sage advice of this historical figure? What were they going through? So again, you can go back in time in this hypothetical situation. You can take all the time in the world you'd like. Which historical figure do you grab in order to help boost the morale of a loved one of yours, past or present? What were they going through, and why do you think he could help, or she? Bobby, whenever you're ready to go, the floor is yours, good sir.
Well, the past or present, and you're a very talented writer, and I love the way you put words together in your question forms and in your intros. But I'm going to be real easy about this and be bland and not knock anybody off of their seat. But I have a couple of nephews who now have their kids who are grown, and they're deciding that other than their real life chores, they're going to coach. They're going to go out and coach kids playing sports. And I think it's very commendable. And the dude that I wanted to reach back in history isn't that far gone. But, when I had the honor and pleasure to be with Tommy Lasorda, when I was 18 years old, when you mentioned graduating from high school, that we both got to go to rookie ball together in Ogden, Utah, to play in this short season and meet a guy who totally knocked me off my feet, who I had the honor to play for, to live with, to enjoy with, to give his son's eulogy and his eulogy, FYI, was just the honor of my life. And no one can teach sports and teach coaching young people better than Tommy Lasorda. That he understood from the get-go, that no one cared what you knew until they knew that you cared, that he understood that if you were from Stamford, Connecticut, and you were Italian, it wasn't that he liked you because you were Italian. He liked you because he was Italian. You know what I mean? He didn't make any bones about that. Right. But on the same token, he was colorblind, and he was a guy who with an 8th grade education, learned 3 different languages, was so much more than that dude that you think about who lost weight in a commercial and had arguments with umpires and had tobacco in his mouth. He was a guy who could teach those who needed to teach how to teach. And he also was that guy who understood how to tell you what you needed to know.
Let me ask you this. Do you feel as if that's lacking today in sports across the board? Not so much. People like to always take a word and simplify it, like disciplinarian. But are we lacking that? Are we lacking some of the generals out there who are able to be direct, like Mr. Lasorda, like yourself, and connect with players, or they make, or have their salaries, the players that is, have they exceeded, I guess, any sort of level of humility? Is it possible to be humble as a player and still take some of that advice, even if it looks and sounds aggressive, Bobby?
Well, again, I don't know what your perception is, but when I got into professional sports and Tommy was managing for the first couple years of his life, the leaders were all from the military. And if they weren't from the military, they took that militaristic view on how to lead because they came from the best team, right? The U.S. military never lost.
Right.
They're a freaking undefeated. So why not do it the way they said to do it? And it was basically my way or the highway, and stand in line and make sure that, you know, you salute properly. But Lasorda came in and changed that whole paradigm.
Right.
Okay. He learned the player's wife's name, the kid's name, knew the town that they came from, knew what pitch it was that made you stay up at night, and what kind of hitter it was if you were pitching to him that you had nightmares about, you know, and could teach you and walk you through the competition, not only the competition of with the other uniform on, but the competition that you always had within, you know, on struggling with yourself and to be better and to be as good as you could possibly be. Yeah, those lessons need to be out there today. And I'd love to bring him back to teach my nephews.
I love that answer. I come from a military family myself. And even when living alone, I would wake up at 5 and make my bed. And when my friends would come visit, they go, "Why are you making your bed at 5 p.m. if you live alone?" I said, it helps me start the day right. Up here, it gets me to start the day right. And, you know, you brought up I remember hearing about Red Auerbach, how when Red Auerbach coached the Celtics, he was everything but their treasurer. I mean, he did everything but drive the bus. There were no need for 50 assistant coaches. He was there. He knew he was there as their confidant, their friend, their coach. I love that you brought that up and how important that is. Bobby, last question about this, because you got me curious now. Is it still possible, do you think, generally speaking, there's always different cases, but is it possible, do you think, with all the agents and the posses and people hanging around players and social media, is it possible today for teams to bond the way they used to?
No. It's absolutely impossible for them to bond the way they used to, the way we used to, because the time that we had was spent together.
Sure.
Now the time that the players have are spent, you know, going out on their yacht or their private plane, or, as you say, talking to their agent, or worrying about who their private hitting coach is and getting them on the line to see how they can do things that would make them look better.
Right.
You know, it's more of a tryout world in sports today than it is a competitive environment world. It's hit it further than everyone else. Throw it faster than everyone else. Make it record and be documented that that's what you're doing. And very often they're forgetting about the competition.
That makes perfect sense. It really does. I guess again, another quick question, because the brain's working here. Do you think there's a solution as it pertains to the camaraderie that seems to be lost today?
No, I think it's a thing that's gone by the wayside. I think there'll be groups, but again, it's so hard. It's professional sports are multinational.
Sure.
You know, I used to have teams, that, I remember Tommy Lasorda, said, hey, he was going to take over a AAA team, and they said that there was a little problem with the black guys and the white guys not really getting together, right?
Sure.
So, his talk in the locker room that day was that he was the new guy in charge, and that there's not going to be any black guys or white guys on his team, that they're all going to be green. And he's going to look at them, they'll all be green every time he looks at them. And everyone nodded and thought that was cool. And then he said, now I want the dark green guys to go to the left-hand side of the locker room, and the light green guys go to the right side, just to let him know that he knew.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Yes.
He let the group know that he knew that that's not the way it's supposed to be.
That's perfect.
And today, there's just so many, cliques of guys from the South, guys who are richer, guys who are, speak different languages. It's hard to have a true camaraderie, I think, situation in baseball.
You want to hear something funny? So I write for one of the biggest studios in the world, and it took me years to get there. I starved before I got there. But when I finally got there, a couple years went by, social media started blossoming, and then all of these writers got handed these projects. And I was wondering, hey, I was curious, how come I'm not getting handed something that I think speaks to me? And I went up to speak to my supervisor at the studio, and he said, at the time, they have 2 million followers on their social media. I go, wait, so that's the reason why they're getting ahead, because they have their social influencers? It's insane to see that causes a divide between people. Like, now the athlete is competing over who has a better TikTok than who has a better running game. It's insane when you think about these things, Bobby. But
you have agents and you have wives. A lot of the wives are in competition for more social hits than the husband. It's a real interesting world. And again, it's different. Yeah. It's not bad. I'm not saying it's bad or good, but it definitely is different.
Definitely. And I'm going to ask Raymond this question before I pitch this topic to you as well, my friend. I want to bring this up because I want to interweave this. Your interest in athletics in high school and college, I mean, they ran deep because you ran track. You ran on the track team. You played 2 years of basketball at Brown. And that was essentially your first performance in front of audiences, right, Raymond?
Yes. I played 4 years of football.
Right.
For Brown. I was a state champion in high school in the high jump. I was a sprinter, and I played basketball, and that was my self-image.
Sure.
Pretty much 2 years into college when I discovered acting and became fascinated by theater. And it rerouted me completely. As a matter of fact, when I was a senior at Brown, I had an alternative of trying out for the Boston Patriots or going to Yale Drama School. And I went to Yale Drama School.
Wow.
Yeah.
That fork in the road, that's so interesting. Wow.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, Raymond.
Whatever. And sometimes I say, man, you should have played for Boston.
Right.
Raymond, to my kids,
Do you feel as if sometimes, and this is something I was thinking about, I have never asked you this question. Do you feel like sometimes the camaraderie and some of the same values that Bobby brought up that were so very apparent back then when it came to being able to build with your team and unite and again, stick together because you had one common goal, did some of those areas that you noticed as an athlete help you later on as a storyteller?
Well, you have to get along with the cast.
Right.
And you're a team when you're making a movie.
Right.
The worst possible situation is to make things uncomfortable for people.
Yeah.
You can't run around throwing tantrums or whatever it is that people would do. You got to get along with people, and you may know these people only for the duration of the shoot of the film.
It's a great point.
But acting is very intimate. It's very personal.
Sure.
So you get to know a stranger in a personal way by acting with them, particularly if they're playing a lover or a mother or a father or a sister or a brother or someone you care about in your family, and they get, sick or ill or something aberrant goes on. You have to learn how to enter that world and really care.
Do you remember earlier when we spoke on the phone, I said that working on stage, I don't feel like there's mistakes. I feel like there's discoveries. And when you make a discovery sometimes and you file it away, you could either learn from it, obviously bring it up during rehearsals when you can try new things. But it all boils down to trust. And a lot of people think, well, I do trust my castmates, but do you trust yourself? And it took you a long time to be able to trust yourself, even in your 30s, to tell yourself, this is what I'm doing now. This is my career. This is my being as a storyteller, Raymond. It didn't happen automatically.
No. I broke my balls.
Yeah.
As a matter of fact, when I was 23 years old, I got a job working at McCarter Theater in New Jersey, Princeton, New Jersey.
Sure.
And I walked out on stage doing an archaic play called Fuento Vahuna by Lope de Vega. I go, Valiant Commendador, with my rolled R, and I forget my lines.
Wow.
And I go like, oh, and I fall on the ground like I'm wounded.
Right.
But after that event, George Reinhold carried me off. But after that event, I became afraid of acting.
Sure.
And I left the profession for 4 years. I got traumatized by it. And in leaving the profession, I took a job teaching and coaching football and track at a private school called Oakland Academy. Some of those young kids are now today close friends. You know?
That's terrific.
Yeah, I actually had a gift for coaching. I knew how to do it. I liked the kids. I loved them.
A gift and a passion, Raymond?
Well, athletics were of passion in the beginning of my life. That's how I got a college education. I got a scholarship to a number of colleges. I went to Brown.
Yes.
Dartmouth gave me a scholarship. William and Mary gave me a scholarship. I had a couple of choices, you know.
Sure.
And my family was poor. My father didn't care if I went to college. What, are you kidding me? What are you going to college? I went to graduate school. He said, what are you doing? What are you going to college again for? You already went
again,
to college.
right.
He never paid. And it was Yale Drama School. You go to Yale, give me a break. You're going to criticize it? You know.
I remember telling my dad, hey, Dad, I think I've chosen my career path. He goes, what is it? I go, writing. And he started bawling with laughter. He was a big guy. And he said, here, give me a pen and paper. Let me write you a better idea.
You know, these guys, they lived through the Depression.
Yeah.
When there was no work.
Right.
So, you know, they valued a 9-to-5 job.
Sure, sure.
If you had, when I was growing up, there were jobs all over the place. You could do anything you wanted if you had the determination.
Right.
You know.
Bobby, you did a couple of plays when you were younger, right, Bobby?
Did plays. For whatever, Raymond, I was the lead in the Tea House of the August Moon in my senior class play. And
That's awesome. That's
amazingly, Marlon Brando played the role on Broadway, as you probably remember. Yeah.
They made a movie of it with him.
Made a movie.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Raymond, I don't want to embarrass Bobby, but it seemed like everything Bobby did, he did so well. Like, you even won a national ballroom dancing title when you were like 14, right, Bobby?
Is that right?
I guess the competition wasn't that good. You know what I mean? But the ballroom dance competition, you know, that was one of the most spectacular things I did in my life. I did it for 3 years of my life. And, you know, you're talking about learning the step with a partner. You're talking about rhythm. You're talking about competition. You know, Waldorf Astoria judges walking around on the floor with little, you know, pencils and papers. And where we won the international contest was in the Fontainebleau Hotel in Fort Lauderdale, Florida. Now it's Miami, Florida. I think they annexed it.
That's right. Yes, man, that's incredible. Like, when I love the research. That's the work. I love learning about people's journey. And like,
you did it.
I'll tell you, Bobby, and a lot of people just assume, well, he did everything well. It doesn't come easy, though. It's the work. I don't know how tireless a person could be, but you were that. You were tireless. And it seems like you did have a dedication to being the very best you could be, and you put in the time, my friend. You really did.
Well, I like to have people think that, you know, I worked like my wife shops all day long.
That's hilarious. Mr. Raymond J. Barry, I'm going to give you the same topic I gave Bobby. I'll read it out loud, my friend. And I know we spoke about this earlier, but Raymond, here's the topic for you. If you could go back in time and pick a historical figure to help boost the morale or spirits of a loved one in your life, who would you select and why to help the spirits of a loved one? Which historical figure would you select to lift the spirits of your loved one, past or present? Whenever you're ready, good sir.
Abraham Lincoln.
Wow. Yeah. And please.
You know, he's a paradigm of morality, leadership, elegance,
yeah,
intelligence. I don't know why he came to my mind.
Sure.
I certainly didn't plan it.
Right.
But that's what stuck.
And who would he assist if there's a loved one of yours that you could think of that was struggling in your life?
Well, I'll tell you something.
Yeah.
I would imagine him walking into a room with empathy.
Right.
And be able to nurture a person.
Sure.
He had that kind of, at least from my sensitivity, he had that kind of awareness with regard to people's needs. And I just feel that about this paradigm figure. It's amazing to me that I bring up his name.
Yeah, I remember you were telling me earlier.
It's a cliche because everyone.
Sure. Let me bring in Bobby because I think you're frozen for a second, Raymond, on your end. We'll let that clear up. Yeah, Bobby, till that clears up on Raymond. Raymond brought up Abraham Lincoln, which is what a great selection that is. I mean, God Almighty.
Bring him back.
You can't beat that.
Bring him back. Yes.
And everyone knows who you know.
Guys and gals and pals who are watching the show right now, thank you again for your patience. This happens to me too. Some tech issues. Raymond will clear up. It'll be fine. Bobby, what was your favorite subject in school?
Hello.
In school, I was a math guy.
Math.
You know, I mean, I did really well on the SATs, all that bullshit, and you know, I got accepted to the Ivy League schools. I had great teachers, all that stuff. But I loved math and I loved languages.
Sure. And Raymond, I know again talking about your academic background as well, how that was interwoven into your professional career. Abraham Lincoln was your selection to bring back. I know we're having some tech issues with Raymond. That'll clear up as well. As soon as Raymond comes back, we'll ask him who he might assist. Who would Abraham Lincoln assist and why? Do you feel, Bobby, right now that there is a definite, I guess, delusion that our youngsters have when it comes to where they can, I guess, receive their knowledge? They're bowing down to the gods of TikTok. That's become their library. I walked by about 5 libraries last week. I remember in the last summer, being in California, which it was my primary residence for a while. The libraries are as empty as you can imagine. It's insane, Bobby.
Yeah. And they're going to stay empty, regretfully, you know. It's so easy now, and the world is changing so rapidly. And, I like to think that I lived through the many eras while as a professional, where the ESPN 24-hour sports talk radio, blah, 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 internet, blah, 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 bulletin boards, chat rooms, now social media. And, it's just the way of the world. I mean, if you're not texting, you're not living.
Totally agree. Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Bobby, what I'm going to do right now is I'm going to call Raymond. And if you can, maybe you can take this opportunity. I would love our viewers to know this. Bobby wouldn't bring this up because he's humble, but I want him to talk about Valentine's Way. And if I'm not mistaken, was it with Peter Goldenblock? Is that the name, Bobby?
Yeah, Peter Goldenbach. Yeah.
Yeah. Could you please talk a little bit about this, where people could find it? I'm going to call Raymond, and maybe you can let people know where they could find this great book.
Wherever you buy your favorite books. Yeah, it's even in the airports at times, but online, go to Amazon. It's kind of cool. It was a baby out of COVID. There's a lot of time. I was a athletic director at Sacred Heart University. We weren't playing sports. I had 1,000 kids that I had to take care of, but I had a lot of private time because social was not in at the time. So yeah, I wrote a book. Pretty good memories. A lot of I think cool stories, and I think I probably talked too much in it, and that's been a trait of my life, to talk too much.
That's perfect, man. And Raymond, don't worry, my friend. Raymond, we can hear you now. You're going to sign in, and I will ask you that question regarding Mr. Lincoln, Raymond. I'll tell you as soon as I see you back there. Interesting stuff. Raymond as well has a book on Amazon. And the thing about Raymond's career, Bobby, is we're talking about a 60-year career, and this man traveled everywhere. He was actually in Iran, in Israel, in Kuwait, in the 60s doing live theater in the Middle East. That's unheard of. It's unheard of. It's absolutely insane. He told me that the greatest thing about the craft of storytelling was it felt pure when he wasn't making a lot of money. He loved being able to do this for the purity of it and just get by, just pay the rent. And I wish some of the athletes, I wish some of the up-and-comers can listen to his story. I'm sure he'll delve into it when he signs in. But that's a man who definitely had, the same love of the game that you had for the stage and for theater. When I hear stories like that, it does something. It really does.
Yeah, it's all special, isn't it?
Now, Raymond, you have to sign one more. You have to click one more thing, Raymond, if you can. There's another prompt. Yeah. No, you have to click enter the studio. You might see that. Yes, or join the broadcast, something like that. Yeah. And we'll bring you right in. There we go. Perfect. Success. My friend. Yeah, you can hang up. Absolutely. I was, if you don't mind, I was bragging about your career because it's worth bragging about. Now, I want to finish this question with you, Mr. Barry, because you essentially selected Abraham Lincoln, and I thought that was a great choice. Who do you think, if in this hypothetical situation, which loved one of yours do you think he would be able to help boost the morale or spirits of?
My son, I have two sons.
Sure.
And they both graduated from college. One went to Amherst College, one went to Sarah Lawrence. But one of them got addicted to Adderall. And my first wife was addicted to weight-reducing pills, which was speed. And I know what that shit can do in terms of behavior. And drug addiction, generally speaking, is a horror show.
Sure.
So you ask me a personal question, I give you a personal answer. I'm not lying. I'm telling you the truth.
I know, my friend. Yeah.
And the truth is more interesting than bullshit.
Amen to that.
Yeah. So, I got 4 kids. For the most part, they're okay. I sent them all through college with my 4. I'm freaking 85 years old. I got a 14-year-old. When will it stop?
In high school, you were telling me. Yeah, yeah. Mm-hmm. That's right.
Nice job, man.
Absolutely.
Nice job.
Absolutely, Raymond. If you could hear us, Bobby Valentine, of course,
I
giving
feel
you the respect.
proud of the fact that I sent 3 out of the 4 debt-free through college.
Debt-free, you mentioned earlier. Debt-free.
Debt-free. It's so expensive. It's $20,000 a year now. But I got 1 more to go. I'll do it. I'll figure out a way. I'll go into
I told my friend. I told my friend about you, Raymond, because male prostitution. You're not that far from Vegas, so there's that. Right? I told my friend a story about you, and I told Bobby the story about how you toured all across the world, and you just brought up an addiction. I don't want to ever, as you say, bullshit the audience. Guys and gals and pals, I might as well do this now. Progresso, our national sponsor. As you see, there's 3 of us, Mr. Bobby Valentine, Mr. Raymond J. Barry, and Avi Klein, but there's 4 cans of chicken noodle soup. Who gets the fourth one? You can tell us in the comment section. You can vote on who gets that fourth chicken noodle. I'll fight for it, though, because we love Progresso and what they do. But I want to say this. Here's a story that I'm going to reveal. I've revealed it a few times. I had an ex who I was 2 weeks away from getting married to, who passed away and dropped dead of an aneurysm when she opened the door to a florist, because this moron over here, Avi Klein, told her when she was complaining of her migraines, I told her, oh, just take an Advil liquid gel. It'll be fine. It'll be okay. Yeah. And only recently her family has spoken to me because I felt like a numbskull had I known. But I live with that every day. Yeah, it's I don't know, when people say a loss hardens you or it makes you stronger. I don't know if that's the case, but I do know that there are learning lessons everywhere, right, Bobby? Everywhere. All around us, there are learning lessons in life. There's no doubt about that. I know Raymond is a bit frozen right now here, so we'll kind of get topic number 2 going as soon as Raymond gets back here. Bobby, not a personal question, but more or less a question that I think someone of your caliber can explain to our audience. Is a defeat sometimes the best victory? Can defeat lead to the best victory in life, in sports, wherever?
Well, you only know victory when you know defeat, and dealing with defeat is challenging. It's not something that that you just think you could read about or learn about. Experience is a funny thing. You can't teach it. You have to do it. Sure. And when you're defeated, there's 2 things you could do. You could stay down or you could get up. And getting up, I have found, is a lot more fun and entertaining than staying down. You fill that backpack. It's no big deal. Sure. Everyone does it. It's called life. And if you can learn from the good and the bad, I think you're a little ahead of the game. Yeah.
I like how you made. Go ahead, Raymond. Please, sir.
I was just going to say, when you've lived 86 years,
absolutely,
Bobby. You've
I'm
gone through an evolution. Yeah.
But Raymond, they should know you still paint every day. You paint every day. Yeah. You've got an incredible website. You write as well. You do monologues sometimes in the car. I mean, there's so much brain food that you place emphasis on, and I really commend you and applaud you for that. Without question.
Well, thank you. Yeah, I love painting. Writing is more arduous, but
sure,
I have a need to do it because I feel there's value in my thoughts. And I've written a novel. I wrote a novel, the theme of which is the parallel between racism and homophobia, 2 minority groups that are prejudiced against by the majority. Kind of interesting. It held my attention anyway, and I
Yeah, I've enjoyed your writing. I've enjoyed the writing that you've shared with me. Even the works that were private and haven't been published are phenomenal. There's no doubt about that. Guys, right now I want to play a video. Please.
Go.
Where do you live, Bobby?
I'm out in Newport now in California, but I'm kind of like cow shit. I'm all over the place,
I hear. I'm in Los Angeles, West Hollywood.
Right, I heard.
Yeah,
you guys got one over me. I'm in Jersey, so I can't compete right now. I'm sorry.
You can compete. You're
guys,
better looking than us.
Oh no, not at all. You guys look fantastic. I told even Bobby, I said, hey, I want to know where that fountain of youth is because you guys look absolutely tremendous. And that's from the heart, man. As you say, I don't bullshit around. I want to play this video real quick of those that we've lost who are part of this network, who have passed on, who are no longer here. I'll keep you guys on screen if I can. Camera's on. This is a tribute video, Raymond and Bobby, to those that we have lost. Trio of options for Gallagher, more underrated than why. Sauerkraut, Henry Kissinger's deep, soothing voice, or dogs wearing sweaters. What a comedian. What a great, talented comedian.
I like dogs wearing sweaters.
Did you have fun?
Yeah. I haven't done an interview in 20 years.
Rest in peace, sir. Mr. Sizemore, first name Tom. Your co-star in Born on the 4th of July. How are you, my friend?
Hey.
I could turn the volume lower if you'd like next time. If you'd like me to do that, Tom. I could do that.
You were in Born.
I don't know what I can do now.
Oh, please.
That was terrific, man.
Thank you, my friend. I appreciate that. And what, as charming as a guy that you are, man, and as honest as a guy as you are, and as down-to-earth as a guy as you are, you played a character that isn't so down-to-earth named Scrooge in college. You played Scrooge. And, of course, I feel like a thespian should rely on their instinct. Do you feel like you rely on your instinct a lot as a storyteller as well?
I mean, playing Scrooge at that young an age was, when I think about it now, I only way I could have done it is I was relying on my instincts. You know, I could have done it the other way. Okay.
More underrated and why? Unicycles, Italian men named Skippy, or sophisticated dinosaurs?
What? More sophisticated dinosaurs?
Yeah,
I want to say the sentence, Italian man named Skippy. I just want to say
Yeah, Italian man named Skippy.
I just want to say the sentence, Italian man named Skippy.
Yeah, something you'll never hear, yeah. Did you have fun? Did you have a nice time?
I had a great time. It was ball.
Yeah, man.
I want to do it again. This is great. I just think it's going to be, a lot of fun for people. I don't think people don't like this on the air, I don't think, really. No, there isn't. I just think it's going to be I'm very interested in how people respond to it, because I know it's going to be interesting and see if people tune in and stay tuned in, and I really hope they do. And I'm all yours, bro. Let's go out and make this work. All right, I'll talk to you soon. Okay, bye.
I teach a workshop, and one of my students finally said about my class about iambic pentameter. He finally said, "I got it, and he was excited, and it was both his elation and those 3 words that make it worthwhile, right?
Amen. You got it. But I think I've got to have equally passionate people involved in the production of it. That passion will override any reservations anybody has as to the show's potential for entertainment or education.
Did you feel as if transitioning to the stage and performing live theater was a natural fit for you?
Yes, I did. I always felt very comfortable on stage. More so on stage than I did in film or television. So I'm looking forward to you, Avi, giving me your thoughts and your input, because as I told you, that piece that you sent me is, I love good writing, and I think
Thank you,
that's been
sir.
the secret of my career. And this is a beautiful piece of writing, as I said. I'm referring to the piece that you wrote me. You're onto something because you're a writer. You're a creative force, and I want to hook up.
Thank you so much for those kind words, guys. Thank you for being you, my friend. I appreciate you and respect you wholeheartedly.
And that goes double for me to you, Avi.
Topic right now. I'll start with Mr. Raymond J. Barry this time, and then Bobby will close it out. Our final topic. Everybody celebrates the moment of glory. The lights, the camera, the pomp, the circumstance. But what most people don't see is the story prior to the glory. Raymond, if you could broadcast a period of time in your professional career that would enable people to see what goes into success, what period of time would you select and why? If you could broadcast a period of time, Raymond, in your professional career that would enable people to see what goes into success, what period of time in your life and career would you broadcast and why, good sir?
Well, I'm tempted to pound my chest and talk about all the victories or the good experiences that I've had on both on stage and acting in front of a camera.
Sure.
I could go like that and say, I did this, I did that, I did that, right? All right, here's the truth. When I was 23 years old, I got a job as an apprentice. I wasn't even in equity, working at McCarter Theater in New Jersey, Princeton, New Jersey.
Sure.
Long story short, I walk on, I'm playing two different characters in two different plays. Titinius, who kills himself.
Yes.
And Fuento Vahuna by Lope de Vega and some other play I can't even remember. Long story short, I go on stage and I say "Valiant Commendador" with my rolled R, and I forget my monologue, and I'm horrified, and I'm 23 years old.
Oh wow!
I forget my thing. George Reinhold comes over, picks me up. I go down on my knees, he carries me off. And what do? I'm horrified. I have ruined the play. In my mind. I go down into the basement, and meantime, I'm playing another character in another play who commits suicide. I break my hand through a glass window. I pick up a shard of glass and I go, boom!
Wow.
Wow. 23 years old. Blood. Pretty soon, ambulances.
Sure.
Long story short, I was a kid. I didn't know any better. I was punishing myself for something that people forget their friggin' lines. It's not that big a deal. But when you're 23, you don't know nothing. Long story short, I went through a traumatizing experience when I was that young.
Right.
Took a job when next thing I did was take a job and coach football and track and teach English at a private school called Oakland Academy. Given up acting. I start painting, which I still do. Here's one of my pictures.
Spectacular.
That's amazing.
Yeah. I still paint and I sculpted, but
and Raymond, that's something you do pretty much daily during the day, painting.
Yeah, I do it. I have a studio and I do it every day. Yeah.
And I like how it's almost that studio, and I mean this in the best way possible. The studio is almost archaic because you're there to paint. You're there to paint.
Were you there? Did you come to me?
You showed me pictures. I've never been there in person.
Yeah. Well, it's embellished with all kinds of large canvases and sculptures, and this is what I do. You can see a painting right there.
It's beautiful.
In back of my head,
Yes, sir.
Whatchamacallit? I do it because you can't act all the time. And, I got to do something creative. And end of story. I forget where I was going with this.
You left the craft for about 4 years and you were coaching.
Yeah, I coached football and track, and I taught 5 classes of English at a private school.
Sure.
Then I taught acting, and, I finally got back into it with a company called the Open Theater. Which was directed by a brilliant director named Joseph Chick. And we performed all over the world, Paris, London, Czechoslovakia. It was really amazing. Israel, Iran. Yeah, we went to every large city in Israel.
You went to Haifa, you went to Tel Aviv.
Tel Aviv.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was really the thing about the Israelis. They speak English,
right?
So they understood what we were doing completely because they were articulate with English.
Sure.
And they also love theater.
Don't you
You
think it's pretty neat though? And I asked Bobby and Raymond this question. Sometimes when you're watching something on mute, you mute it, and you're still able to understand what you're watching without words. You don't need the words. You don't have to be reliant upon
Yes.
words. It's the nonverbal energy, right, Raymond?
Yes, absolutely. Sure. People have another sense of
Yeah.
how to communicate, how to understand. Like Bobby right now is like this. And I understand it. There's a communication. Now he's smiling. And I get it. There's a kind of agreement between human beings about what our condition is, where we're in contact, where we agree. You can always tell when we disagree as
And
well.
it definitely happens at the DMV when we're waiting in line. A lot of nonverbal energy going on there.
Yes. Yeah. Exactly.
You were such a delight when you shared a story. Very quickly, I want to bring this up about Raymond J. Barry. You were paying your dues, and you had just done some construction work, and there it is. You had an audition. It was for a Mickey Rourke film, and you walked in the construction boots. You came in as is, and you were confident.
The director
Yes.
told me he said he was surprised to see the appearance. I had dirt on my arms and, I was digging trenches all day.
Incredible.
And I came in and did the reading. The guy gave me the part,
Yeah. Again, I think your friend, the guy who was in finance, he had watched you when you were you were doing dishes because you were paying your dues. You loved your craft, and there he is. He sees you doing these dishes, wondering, oh, here's this athlete, big academic guy. He's wondering that he's not saying it, and then years later, he sees you on TV.
Yeah,
Monahan.
right.
Monahan. His name was Monahan, right?
Yes, Frank Monahan.
Frank
Yeah.
Monahan. And I'd like to tell Frank Monahan if he's watching. Ha!
Yeah. Well, when I started acting as a senior at Brown University, all the football players would come and sit in the back row and laugh their asses off because I didn't know how to act. I was making a fool out of myself in their minds. And from Brown, I got accepted at Yale Drama School.
Sure.
And so I began to learn a little bit more and more. The best teacher I ever had was William Hickey and Uta Hagen. I went to the Berghoff studio and studied for real. And then doing a lot of plays, whatever. Up in front of an audience for 2.5 hours, you learn how to do it, whatever.
Without question. Oh my God.
Yeah.
I think if I'm not mistaken, she originated the role of Martha in Who's Afraid of Virginia Woolf.
That is correct.
What a person to learn from. And
She
guys,
was
I
a
hope.
powerhouse.
And so are you.
Yeah.
So are you, my friend. You've passed on a lot of knowledge to me alone and to so many others, as has Bobby Valentine, who I'll kick it over to. We've talked about what he's done as a manager. We've talked about what he's done as a player. But how he does, what he does, I think is probably a huge part of the story as well. Bobby, I'll ask you the same question I asked Raymond. If you could broadcast a period of time in your life or your professional career that would enable people to see what goes into success, what period of time would you select and why, good sir?
Try to give you everything I got here about that time. I guess I had a managerial stint in Texas for about 8 years, and they decided George W. Bush's group that owned the team at the time with George W. decided to go another direction, and I became a AAA manager, which is one step down. Yeah. And while I was the AAA manager, there was it's much too long a story, but anyway, I was selected and offered to be the first ever non-Japanese person to manage in Japan. And I had done 8 years in the big leagues, and I was going to do it for another 20 and retire and go to the Hall of Fame. And it was such a spectacular opportunity. presented by one of the most spectacular people who ever walked the earth, an all-star shortstop from Japan who became a heralded general manager and manager, and impeccably dressed every day, and bilingual and an understanding of the world like you'd want everyone to understand the world. And I decided to take that opportunity. And if I could have had a cell phone in 95 following me around so that I could remember everything that went on, because they allowed me to do the marketing and the promotions and the minor league drafts and the teaching of the entire organization. And it was just one of those once in a lifetime experiences that I'm really fortunate to have.
My friend, I will allow you, please, to say anything you want to the viewers. I'll give you a solo as you depart. What a great story that was. Anything you'd like to let our viewers know, Mr. Valentine?
Wow, this medium here, what you're creating here is wonderful, to let people see people in the real world, and I think that they should tune in, and I think that you got to tune out a lot of the stuff that's out there, because most of it's just noise, and noise just is a distraction. And if you're going to hit a 99-mile-an-hour fastball, you have to concentrate on the main thing. And if we could just make the main thing, and that is to treat everyone the way you want to be treated, I think we'll have a chance of solving the problems that I've been trying to solve since, holding a sign in a picket line in 1969. And there's so many other, one stories that someday Raymond and I could sit down and talk about, because his era is spectacular. I think my era has followed his, and I'm sure there's a lot of synergies all over the place. And Avi, what you're doing, keep writing, keep talking, make it happen, dude. I appreciate you letting me be with you.
I really enjoyed this. I'm humbled by your kind words, and you're a gentleman and inspiration, Bobby. Thank you for your time, good sir.
My pleasure, man. Take care of yourself. Thank you.
You too. Thank you. Mr. Bobby Valentine. Raymond J. Barry. What a class act Mr. Valentine is, right?
Yeah. Lovely guy. Beautiful guy.
Without question. And so are you. I want to take these things off here, because I don't say this often, my friend, but you never know what tomorrow brings. And I know that when we get into a certain age, sometimes we can't remember things. Sometimes things are foggy. But my 7-year friendship with you has meant the world to me. And I'm saying this eye to eye. I wish I could say it face to face. As a friend, as a mentor, I want you to know I love you, and I appreciate you for the human being that you are.
Whoa.
You've been an incredible friend.
You blow my mind. And I'm affected, obviously. Thank you. Thank you. From the heart. Really.
You've made me a better person by realizing how important it is to be patient, to be present, to be aware, to block out the distractions. I know you can't remember all of the conversations we've had, because again, something happens when we reach a certain age and we get a little foggy, but our audience remembers. This is a very quick clip. I think this is a good time to show our audience, guys and gals and pals who are watching. This was one of Raymond's first appearances here on this network, he and I over here. If I could play this. Most importantly, we'll have fun, we'll laugh, we'll smile, but it all starts with a grin. This was our show, our stage, guys. Yeah, 4 segments, guys and gals. This is just the debut episode of Raymond Barry and myself.
I hope I say the right thing, that type of thing. After he talked to me like that, I got upset, and it was perfect for the scene.
Stanislavski said, the person that you are is 1,000 times more interesting than the best actor you could ever hope to be. I gotta tell you, I'm excited for this first episode, my friend. Are you? That that was part of our show. We called it Our Stage, and we delved into different methods, and of course, a lot of your life experiences and how they interweave together. And our audience has been so grateful for your pearls of wisdom, Raymond.
Really?
Yes.
I'm amazed, you know. I may be an actor, but I don't spend much time in front of people, you know,
Sure.
when I'm not working. And also, when you're shooting a movie, it's a very private kind of involvement, you know. I think that's the reason why acting attracts people who are shy.
I think that's true.
You know,
You're absolutely right about that.
yeah, it gives them an opportunity to communicate with audiences. And very often the people who are doing it are very shy,
Yes.
you know, withheld and not socially adept, you know.
That's a great
And
way.
they choose acting as a profession, you know.
Well, I always say, speak from the heart the way you do, and your presence is a present, my friend. It's a gift. I hope we get to do this again real soon. Did you have a nice time, my friend?
Yeah, I did. You're a lovely man, and I thank you. I thank you. I sense you have you tried to make people comfortable, and I really appreciate that.
Thank you, my friend.
Yeah.
It's always an honor to be in
Yeah.
your presence. Value our friendship, and I really hope we get to speak again. And until then, paint away the way you do, my friend.
I shall. I'm going to my studio now.
Have a great rest of the
Okay,
evening.
baby. Take care.
You too.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Raymond J. Barry, guys and gals who are watching, what a gentleman he is. What a gentleman Raymond is. We go back years, and when we started this network, he was on. Stephen Tobolowsky, Raymond J. Barry, Rick Barry. They're all on screen together. But what was really great was the conversations that Raymond and I had off screen, because he taught me a lot. But it's learning how to be a human being before anything else. And I think that's why Stanislavski spoke to me, because we could always be way better than our characters ever can be. There's no pen that can ever somehow illustrate the humanity of a person more so than we can. And speaking with Raymond, time stops, because we don't talk about superficial things. We talk about things that matter. And you guys matter as well, our audience. Thank you for watching. Thank you for enjoying. I'm looking forward right now to your comments. Whoever's going to pop up on screen. Guys and gals, thank you so much. The floor is yours.
Oh, man.
That was beautiful.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
I was not expecting at all. And how could he not be here? He's been here from the beginning. How could Raymond J. Barry not be here in the celebrity tournament with so many other luminaries, distinguished people? Gosh,
I had the pleasure of seeing so many beautiful moments with Avi and Ray. I had the distinct pleasure of listening in at times to conversations, and the degree of love and care and just knowledge and heart that both of those men would trade off with each other. That's why I'm emotional. To me, Ray is old school TKN, man. Here since, are here early on and had such amazing shows with here on this network and with Avi. So it took me back just watching that and watching their relationship over the years kind of bloom. It was beautiful being on the phone and listening to Ray call Avi babe. Hey babe. It's the most endearing, sweet thing. And I hope he doesn't mind I share this, but it's just beautiful. watching that relationship and watching it blossom forth and learning from each other and Ray, I mean, Ray and Avi talking about theater. Oh, that would be, yeah, that could go on for years. But Miranda, your thoughts, man.
Wow. Well, I know Avi and Ray are great friends. And Ray's been here for years, a part of TKN. So it's true. I mean, Giselle was right. How could he not be in this tournament? He has to. And this was such a treat to see him. I was pleasantly surprised because, of course, my predictions are always wrong, but in the best way possible, because it could not have gotten better than Raymond J. Barry and Bobby Valentine, too. So I had a really fun time tonight. What about you, Giselle?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I wasn't expecting either of these competitors. And that's the brilliant thing about us every week. Even when we know who's going to be in a second round match, we never know if there's going to be a guest judge or if somebody's going to pop in, if Stevie Ray's going to be on with his predictions, what's going to happen, who's going to be there. It's so much fun, the anticipation, the excitement, waiting for that.
Right.
And soon we will find out which of these competitors have advanced to round number 2. We will all vote. It is your turn in the comment section to vote now. Vote for topics 1 and 2. Make that very clear and specific for us, please, so that we know who you're voting for each topic. You can say topic 1, Raymond. Topic 2, Bobby. Topics 1 and 2, Raymond. Topics 1 and 2, Bobby. Just make it very clear that we know that you voted for both topics and who you are voting for those topics. Do that in the comment section right now. We have the arduous task of doing this live and giving our reasons.
Yeah.
Which really is becoming more and more difficult each and every week. And while we're voting, we have to remind you that this is an 11th hour match. There could potentially be a tie. Bonsoir, Natalie. Howard.
Yes.
Thank you. And it's always awesome to have you here, Natalie. Great insight, Howard. Thank you, Allison. Great show, having phone issues. Oh, hey.
Thank you, Ed, for being here.
Yeah. And that's fine. Ed, you can go back and watch everything. You're going to love it. We appreciate that you're here. You're a long-time viewer. You've probably been here almost as long as Raymond Barry has been with the network. So we're so happy that you are here.
Hey guys, I want to say something real quick, okay? I'm off camera, obviously. Ed is on here commenting, so I want to do this now. Guys, your votes don't go anywhere because we're going to find out who moves over to round number 2 of this celebrity tournament. I do want to inform you guys that round number 3 is going to begin very soon. I am a little choked up because for those of you who've been watching us for years, you'll know how close Raymond and I are. And as we get older, we forget things sometimes. And Raymond puts that out there. I don't put anything out there unless a person wants to have that put out there. And he wants you guys to know that the moment he was reminded of how special you made him feel for 4 years under this great umbrella is the moment he realized that there's nothing more important than the moment.
Yeah.
When I spoke to him the next day, his memory was foggy. And when I say the next day, I mean last Tuesday, last Wednesday. Raymond is a special person. And for him to be a part of this tournament now means a lot to me because it's important to honor the people that you have in your life while they're alive. Don't wait till they're gone to honor them. Don't. You might be concerned with how they can react to an acknowledgement, a compliment. Don't. Because you're putting good out to the world and somebody may need it. They may need it at that point. Ed, if you're watching and listening, some of you know that a very special member of the engine named Gloria Morgan would be commenting here every Saturday night. She was a very close friend of Ed's. I know you enjoyed the show, Gloria, but not as much as we enjoyed your presence. It's never easy saying goodbye to someone when we assume they've left us behind. But it is easy to say thank you. It's easy to say thank you to someone who made an impact, not just in our lives, yours, mine, but other people's. Cousins, aunts, uncles, neighbors, friends. This planet called Earth lost someone the other day. This planet lost someone who was passionate, intelligent, and very positive. Her name was Gloria Morgan. You might have seen her commenting as Gloria Westcott. She was part of this amazing group that we call The Engine. I remember calling this group The Engine years ago. The engine that makes this thing go, because that's what you guys do. You give us so very much of yourselves in the comment section, your hearts, your souls. Gloria was a very big part of that group, and I had the privilege and the honor to pop in during unadvertised meetings and workshopping with her a couple of times, along with other Engine members like Mr. Ed Hauser, who was so very close to Gloria. I apologize, Ed. I apologize because it isn't enough to say that I have sorrow in my heart, but I'm sorry. I am sorry for your loss. It was my gain to have gotten to know Gloria a tad bit. She was someone that was close to you, and she touched so many lives. With that, I'd like to let Walt Whitman speak, especially since summer is upon us. Warm summer sun, shinely kind here. Warm southern wind, blow softly here. Green sod above. Lie light, lie light. Good night, dear heart. Good night. Good night.
Wow. I had no idea. I'm so sorry, Ed.
And I send you a big hug. Love you, brother. And just know I'm here as well.
I want everyone to, if they can, send Ed a message, guys. Let him know how much we appreciate Ed.
Yeah.
He carries her spirit with him every day. And he carried her spirit when she was with us on this planet. And I know she meant the world to him. So please let's give it up for Ed, okay, guys? Let's send him some messages and send him our love. And to Gloria's family and friends, we send you our deepest condolences.
Yes.
During this very difficult time right now. And this is there's never a good time. But just know that I mean it when I say that you guys are the driving force behind what we do. We will stop any conversation we have if you're in need. We will stop anything that's taking place here under this great umbrella known as the New Network, because you guys come first. You guys and gals are pals, and you do come first. Absolutely, Ed. Absolutely, we're here for you. That's what a community is, guys. We're not here to be the next Joe Rogans. We're not here to be the next anything. We're here to be exactly who we are. And those who want to join us and enjoy the journey with us, they can. Because we're always going to lead with positivity, with warmth, with unity. Eagle John, thank you for joining us, my friend. It's okay. We are wishing Ed Hauser and sending him our deepest condolences because one of our terrific viewers, Gloria Morgan, passed away the other day. And we extend our heart and souls to Ed because that's what TKN does. We will stop the action, so to speak, because we're not trying to become internet sensations. We're trying to remind people that their humanity is all they need in this world. It's all they need. We don't need anything else but our humanity, guys.
Mm-hmm.
Be open. And if one person or two people listen, means you might have made a couple of friends. If 2,000 or 2 million listen, awesome. But either way, I think based on what I discussed earlier about Raymond J. Barry and our friendship and how he's getting a bit older now and losing Gloria, there's no better time than right now to text someone you haven't texted in a while or say how you feel. Maybe there is someone you communicate with, a dad, mom, an uncle, friend. Maybe they need to hear how much you love them. Maybe they think it's sappy or random, but that's okay. There's no better time than right now. So, with that, guys, I have the unenviable task of kicking it over to Giselle, Howard, and Miranda because what they're going to be doing is they're going to be voting on who resonated most with them. Was it Bobby Valentine? Was it Raymond J. Barry? And guys, we're going to announce the winner. One of these amazing individuals. Bobby Valentine is one of the all-time greats. New York Mets legend. Not just a legendary manager, but also a great player. As we found out, a legendary ballroom dancer. Bobby Valentine is Mr. Charisma. He's one of the greats. And again, I want to invite people here that do a lot with their celebrity. He does it. And of course, so does Raymond J. Barry, who is a TKN original, guys. A TKN original. He was here when we were building this thing. So again, in case you kind of want to know some of his credits, they're vast. In the film medium alone, Born on the 4th of July. That's one that pops up in my mind right off the bat. Tom Cruise gives a lot of credit for some of his guidance. Raymond J. Barry's career, he's one of the great stage legends we have in the American theater. There is no doubt about that. So again, I'll zip the old lip and kick it to Giselle. She'll give us her thoughts.
No, I have to go first. Oh, and I haven't totally collected my thoughts because of those beautiful tributes to humanity. And of course, all of our condolences. You're a huge part of this family. So anything you need, let us know. We're all here for you. Goodness. Topic 1. Choosing a historical figure to inspire someone. There's so many different ways you can go, and Raymond Barry went into the past and spoke of Abraham Lincoln and how he was this paradigm of morality, leadership, and intelligence, and also had empathy and awareness of people's needs, and how he would choose him to influence his family, as he's had several members deal with substance issues. So that was just a lovely, lovely choice all around. And then Mr. Valentine. Hey, Gus, welcome.
Hey, Gus.
Hi, Gus.
Going in the not so distant past and choosing someone that had a very personal meaning to him and someone who could teach people how to teach, which is a very difficult thing to do because you may be well versed in your subject matter, but can you impart that knowledge to someone else? Can you impart that knowledge in a way that they comprehend what you're saying and fully understand everything that goes into that? teachers, coaches, counselors, they're all so much more than the subject matter. So for topic 1, my vote is going to Mr. Valentine. He also made it personal and wants to teach people in his family, wants to inspire people in his family, but teaching them to be good teachers is really important. That's Ed.
I'm so sad, but thank you. I consider you all my family. Thank you all. She always look forward to shows, and we often speak about the topics throughout the week. She's going to be greatly missed. Thank you, Gloria, for
We're
everything.
here to take that in for a second. Howard, Giselle, Miranda, take it in. Take it in, because you guys are on screen here, and we're doing this live. I'll say this. I think you guys know my cadence and everything you're hearing right now from me is something I would tell you if we were off screen too. You know that about me.
Yeah.
I would tell you guys this off screen as well. Take in what we're doing, because there are people here that appreciate you, and we appreciate them. And I want them to know how much we appreciate them, because for you guys to be talking about what we do on screen throughout the week, it means a lot to me personally, because we're trying to make a difference. I wouldn't say trying to make a change. What I'm trying to do is simply remind people that if we stop what we're doing for a second and we don't bow down to the gods of TikTok or social media in general, even though we're on YouTube, we can sit down and have a very awesome conversation with each other and enjoy the present moment, not worrying about the next. Open up our hearts, open up our minds, trust ourselves, trust the people we're communicating with, and have a stimulating conversation. And Ed, you've been part of this ride for as long as Gus, for many, many years, and we do appreciate you a ton. Ed, the invitation is always there for you if you want to come on screen. Anytime you want, my friend. Again, deeply sorry for your loss. Deeply, deeply sorry. We will miss Gloria. And thank you again, Ed. Guys, not easy to do this right now. How do you vote when you have two incredible individuals like Raymond J. Barry and, of course, Mr. Bobby Valentine? Giselle, I'm curious. Who do you vote for? We got the whys. Who do you got?
Topic 1 is Bobby Valentine. Topic 2. If you could broadcast a period of time in your professional life that enables people to know what goes into success, into your success. Wait, what? Where? Wow? Wow? Just,
Amazing topic.
I can see that being so helpful in so many different avenues. Raymond Barry speaking about his time at McCarter Theater, which is a stomping ground for great stage actors. One of my artistic directors in Pennsylvania also worked at McCarter Theater and has so many wonderful stories there. Often worked with Nagel Jackson, playwright. Met him a couple of times. And that moment that I think so many storytellers can relate to. I went up on a line. I ruined the show. I couldn't recover. I froze in panic. But also the way he tells it really drew me in. I felt like I was right there with him, watching it all happen, moment by moment, beat by beat. And then Bobby Valentine comes in and speaks about what would be considered a demotion by most people, moving from the major leagues to being a AAA manager, but then the recovering and be able to go overseas and abroad and be the first non-Japanese manager. Like, these are really great moments that show how that work can pay off in unexpected ways and what it does. But for this second topic, I'm going with...
No, that's great, Giselle. But what I'm thinking in terms of what my vote is going to be is...
But I wasn't done. You didn't even let me get the name out.
Oh.
This plays into so much of what we talk about all the time. So for topic 2, my vote is going to Raymond J. Barry. Miranda, it's your turn.
Thank you. for the first topic, I have to go with Bobby Valentine. I think that he was concise and very detailed with his answer. And like you said, Giselle, you have to be able to teach people, draw people in, right, in a way that they can understand it. And I think he was talking about his son wanting to be a coach, or he is a coach right now as well, which is pretty cool. So kind of following in his father's footsteps, which is awesome. So I have to go with Bobby Valentine on that one, even though Raymond J. Barry did a great job speaking about Abraham Lincoln. I thought that was a very interesting choice. Then second topic, awesome topic. I really loved that. And I love hearing about these luminaries talking about the struggles that they've had in their careers and in their lives in general, not because I like hearing about their struggles, obviously, but because it shows that they're human, and it shows that people make mistakes, and then it shows how to persevere from those mistakes and how they ultimately have the success that they have today, which I feel like all of us can learn a lot from. So I really appreciated that topic a lot, even though the first one was very interesting as well. Second topic, I'm going to go with Raymond J. Barry, because that really, the way he said it, like you said, Giselle, was very captivating, but also it did resonate with me a lot, being a storyteller, of how he was, I even said it in the comments, how he was talking about how he forgot his monologue. I wrote it in the comments that I would have freaked out, and that's the worst moment for a storyteller that could possibly happen, is forgetting your lines or your monologues, especially if you're on stage and you're live in front of people. That would be a nightmare. I could only imagine how that feels. And I hope to never feel that way. But I think that shows. And, he was talking about how he was only 23 as well. So I think that shows how he overcame a lot of adversity, and he didn't let that get him down. And he kept going and he kept moving. And now he's extremely successful. I mean, he does everything. He paints, he wrote a book, even Bobby Valentine wrote a book, and ballroom dancing. I mean, these guys can do anything they set their mind to. So that was really inspiring overall. Great match. Now, Howard.
Thank you, Miranda. That was I did genuinely like your analysis, Miranda. Your analysis, Miranda. I liked yours.
Were you even listening to it?
I'm sorry. I'm sorry. You said Did you say something?
Yeah, I did. I said, were you even listening to it? What did she say in her analysis?
Okay, I was trying to make my points, and you're cutting me off. Because
I don't believe you listened to her, so I can't believe what came out of your mouth. But go ahead, make your points.
So yeah. So Bobby Valentine, first of all, amazing topic, Avi. Both amazing topics. Bobby Valentine talked about Tommy Lasorda and how he was the kind of coach who would really get into the nitty-gritty, really learn about the details of the players, really learn about the nuances, like their wife's names. He would get really, personal, and he would really get into the minutia of the game, but not only that, also the psychology of the game. And so Bobby Valentine would have picked Tommy Lasorda, and I thought that was pretty powerful. And then Mr. Raymond Barry talked about Abraham Lincoln, which was, called him a paradigm figure. And he said, and I quote, I could imagine him walk into a room, and nurture a person. Because, see, that would take, someone to be able to take someone in, take in their energy and empathize with them, right? Take that beat, take that pause. I believe that is what he meant by someone saying, I could imagine him walking into a room and nurturing a person.
Oh, is that why that stuck with you? Because you don't know how to do that?
I'm going to continue. Raymond said, he would be able to boost their morale. he was really good at boosting their morale, Abraham Lincoln. And, you know, that's something that's really, really rare these days.
Is it? What are we doing here every week? Do you ever think before you speak?
I'm just trying to make my points, Giselle. And you know, when you kind of throw a monkey wrench in my train of thought, that sometimes I lose my train of thought. So could we just please keep it focused here? Okay, I'm trying to be as professional as I can be. So my vote for the first topic goes to Raymond Barry. I thought Abraham Lincoln was a really strong argument. Second topic. Raymond Barry went into his early stage experience, and yes, the horror and the shock of losing a line and going up on a line, and how that could really be traumatizing to a actor, to a storyteller.
And I need a consonant before the vowel. An actor. And actually, we're not. We're storytellers. If you want to win this thing, you need to be clear. Oh, good. The fake throat clear. Like, I haven't seen that a couple times.
I'm going to just continue. Okay. And at 23, this very traumatic experience happened to him. He got traumatized, and he started going and branching off into other things like coaching, football coaching, and track and field. And that became.
Hold on.
Joe.
I haven't finished my point here.
Hold on. Look, I get what you're trying to do, but look at this. Look at this view. This is beautiful. Look, man, this is Washington. This is a beautiful night to be out. This is Raymond's night. This is Bobby Valentine's night. Like, look, I see the tension between all of you, but look, you got to put that aside tonight. You got to put that aside. Just Howard, Giselle, look at you both. Come on. This is Raymond J. Barry and Bobby Valentine's evening. I think you're doing a fantastic job, but you got to put that behind you. Like, look, I'm almost out of reception, and even I, looking at this in my running, you got to put that behind. Live in this moment we have here. Just enjoy what is here between you two. I may not know necessarily how far it goes, but let that good energy come to you, okay?
Joe, let me ask you a question. So, what was that last sentence you just said right now?
What?
What was that last sentence you just said right now?
Let that good energy come to you.
Okay, so imagine, Joe, someone deciphers and dissects each and every freaking consonant and verb and adjective that came out of your mouth.
But that's just
imagine that.
That's just the feeling. That's just the feeling in the moment. Hey,
I'm just trying to make sure you are giving Raymond J. Barry, Bobby Valentine, the respect they deserve.
I was giving them the respect. You know what's disrespect?
How can you give them the respect they deserve?
He's interrupting your fellow colleague because he's trying to. When we note, we are trying to give shine and to give light to amazing competitors as they took their time to really give amazing.
You have 3 words in your vocabulary.
You're dissecting
powerful.
Every
How
word.
many comments do you look at night and say powerful?
Crazy.
What are you talking about? Someone being powerful one more time.
Okay,
I do not know what I'm going to do.
Okay. Right. Thank you. Thank you. I appreciate it. Okay. So I think I need to chime in here because this is getting kind of out of hand and I really want to talk to the both of you. Okay?
Guys, right now we're going to find out who advanced to the next round. Even though we didn't get Howard's vote, we're going to find out. We got your votes. We got your votes. Here is who is moving on to the next round. Hey, guys and gals, give it up for Raymond J. Barry. He's moving on to the next round. We bid adieu to Mr. Bobby Valentine, guys and gals and pals. Bobby Valentine is one hell of a human being. We're going to see him back, I promise you. But hey, even in the 11th hour, unless there's a tie, you never know who's going to advance, guys. Raymond will. Guys, that's how the old mop flops, as Mr. Stevie Ray says. And speaking of Stevie Ray, guys, you don't want to go anywhere. Watch the outro because not only will you find out what matchup we have coming up next Saturday, but we told you something that we knew with a K all along, and now you know. You know what's going on Wednesday nights. You know, guys and gals and pals, as we watch Giselle and Mr. Pete Babcock and Miranda and Miss Cindy Pickett do their thing with Mr. Jacques Rougeau judging this past Wednesday night. Wednesday night's Black Box is all about the team challenge. That's right, the Celebrity Team Challenge. One TKN host, one celebrity that's either involved in this tournament or not, are going to team up with one another in a team challenge. And in the outro, we're going to find out which two teams are up next on Wednesday night. And Gus Anselmo, didn't get a chance to say this to you, brother. Thank you for the kind words. You are a positive human being. You've been here for a long time. Julio, my friend, you are a genius. Let's see that Mark Henry match or that Stevie Ray match. Guys, Julio's bringing up some second rounders we haven't seen yet as we are inching so close to the final lap of this second round. We still have yet to see Stevie Ray, Jesse Ventura, Mark Henry, Sally Jesse Raphael, Nancy Kerrigan, Dee Wallace, John Anderson, some of the heavy hitters, and of course the Green Rumors. That's right. Howard Collado and JW are going to go at it. Miranda will be facing Phil Justin. I will be facing Hauser Odalock, Megan, and of course Mr. Joe Risitano in a four-way matchup. So there's a lot coming up. Round 2's about to end. The outro, I can't wait to tell you who's going to be on next week, but I won't have to say a word because the images will be my words. This outro tonight is going to blow your mind when you find out who's facing who. Giselle has no idea. Miranda has no idea. You guys have no idea. You're going to find out very, very soon who will be facing who. That being said, guys and gals and pals, we're only at the hour and 54-minute mark. The outro will be coming up shortly. Do not go anywhere. Let your friends and family know as well. Sharon, so nice to see you tonight. Sal, first time seeing you. Thank you for joining us. I appreciate you. You make me feel oh so Queens with that name. I appreciate you. I'm a Queens guy. Willie Wilson, nice to see you as well. Dream Big Productions, absolutely. Thank you for being here. We appreciate you. We're always going to call you guys out in the best way possible. Natalie, thank you so much. Good night, everyone. Friendship Power, you are as well. You are an inspirational force. There's no doubt about that. Allison, you are always our biggest cheerleader, and we appreciate you for your positivity. Phil Justin is here. Maybe he has a message from Miranda. Maybe we'll see. But right now, before we go, Miranda sent me a text. And I'm not going to tell you what the text was about. She will. Because in case you're joining us, the drive-by viewers that maybe come in, come out, leave, and maybe have missed something. Eric, you don't have to go anywhere. We're still here, brother. I noticed Howard and Giselle articulate themselves. I noticed them illustrating. I noticed them painting, if you will. And they do that oh so well as judges. But in case you haven't noticed, during the last month or so, they've been at each other's throats. And we've been seeing that happen in front of the camera. We've been seeing it happen while they're voting. It used to be after they were voting. Now they can't. Howard didn't officially vote. For the second topic, I had to cut it off. Joe Risitano is somewhere in a desert burying bodies for all I know. And he pops in. He gets reception enough to pop in and let you guys know what's going down. I'm getting text messages from people right now. They're appalled by your behavior, guys. And Miranda is a therapist. This is not some skit or some story. Miranda has gone to school and is making quite the career for herself as a therapist who helps people with their problems and issues day to day. So Miranda, before you address Giselle and Howard, I'm going to go backstage. Can you please let our audience know, Miranda, what you texted me, what it was all about before you lead into a conversation with these two?
Yes. So I texted Avi to let him know that I wanted to speak with you guys. So that is why I was trying to cut you off and make everything, civil in this field here on TKN. I want to make everything civil between everyone. And I've noticed the tension between you guys. And it is concerning me. So I was wondering if you guys would mind opening up about your issues with me. Yes, right now. Yes.
That's real life.
We're doing this together, one at a time.
We can be all together. I think it's important for you guys to talk to each other as well.
But that's the problem. We talk to each other all week.
Right, but you're talking, but it seems like you guys are not listening to each other. You're just yelling over each other.
Oh no, there's only one person not listening here.
Oh no, I listen. I just get I just get some condescension as a result.
Because you're not listening. If you listened, you would apply.
Oh, well, okay. Well, there's a difference between talking to someone and talking at
one at a time. Okay. Howard, when do you think this all began between you and Giselle?
Well, look, we're gonna be open and honest and transparent here. Fine. There was one day where I'm sure I screwed something up, right? Because I make mistakes. I'm human, right? And I acknowledged it, And what was communicated to me was, wow, I wonder, I even question his actual storytelling talent these days.
Mm.
Yep. Never an apology, nothing at all. And to question my capacity to be a storyteller, that cuts deep.
Yeah.
I've been doing this on and off for 25 plus years.
Mm.
I've actually been on stage with her. She knows what I'm capable of doing.
Mm.
She's seen what I've done here. So to someone just say, hey, you know, I even question his talent, his actual acting, storytelling talent. That cut.
Yeah. You felt like that was very personal towards you, Howard. Not only that you made a mistake, but she was attacking who you are and your talents as well. Giselle, how do you feel about what Howard said?
He wanted the truth. I gave it to him.
What would make you feel like he's not?
The
Yeah.
same things that are a problem behind the scenes translate to our on-screen work. So, yeah. And he's right. We've been on stage together. Also, maybe that on and off thing, maybe it was that off part that has you not quite up to snuff. I've been doing this a long time too, Howard. I didn't take off. I stayed. But yeah, those same issues that are happening backstage, those are translating to his on-screen performances, and I don't know if I can trust him.
Okay. Yeah, that's a big thing. Trust is important in this field, in this modem here on TKN and behind the scenes. What do you think you would need from him to feel like you can trust him again?
Growth, showing that he can actually take a note and apply it and realize that it applies to a broad spectrum of activities and not just to one singular instance. Might help.
Okay. And how do you feel, Howard? Do you feel like you do that already? Or do you feel like there is room for growth on your end?
There's always going to be room for growth. And am I consistent? Sure. No, I'm not. You know, and I know it's a pain in the ass working with me. I get it. Take a number. There's a long list of people who've had trouble working with me. Okay, I get it. All right. But what you're always going to get from me is loyalty. Okay. And I'm always going to give you, and I'm always going to come from a good place. And she talked about trust.
Right.
Okay. Let's go there. Trust.
Wow. I think
enough already. Oh man, I'm so sick and tired of this crap. What are you doing? Trying to make peace in the green room? Trying to take over the green room? Let me tell you something. There is only one purpose to be here, and that is to win. That's something you know very little about. Let's go back. Let me refresh your memory. A couple of years ago, when it mattered, you couldn't beat me. You could not beat me. So I don't know where you're coming off here trying to talk to these people like you know what you're talking about, like you have some basis for this therapy. Get over yourself. Seriously, enough is enough. But you know, in the end, when this is all over, the therapist is going to need the therapy. Can you dig it? Enough!
Phil. I know more than you do, Phil. Trust that. Okay? The audacity. Unbelievable.
No. You have no. He's trying to rattle you, Miranda. Listen, you're the voice of reason tonight. Every single week, you're the qualified voice of reason that we have here. Guys, I told you about the outro. Let's do something we haven't done in a while. We're only at 2 hours and 5 minutes. Let's play the outro. Let's bring in Phil if he could be civil. I know he's not going to say a word. He said all he had to say. Phil, I'm inviting you here really quickly. Guys, listen. We got another surprise. Everybody wants to see this big matchup coming up next Saturday. Everybody wants to know which matchup is coming back. Even the king of the black box, Mr. Kelly White. Let's give him a round of applause. Mr. Kelly White. Give it up to Kelly White, guys. Kelly White over here, guys. Guys and gals and pals. Without further ado, we will get to this on the black box, and even next Saturday, we're going to keep addressing what's been happening here between Howard and Giselle. Obviously now Phil and Miranda. People are jockeying for position. This is what happens when there's so much at stake and so much on the line. Guys and gals and pals, for Giselle, Miranda, Phil Justin, Howard Collado, and the great Kelly White, the man who's got more tools in his toolbox because he's won more black boxes than anybody. I am Avi Klein, guys and gals. Give it up for Raymond J. Barry, who moves on to the next round. One of the greatest Baseball Hall of Fame managers as well. Bobby Valentine, everyone in the comment section. Guys and gals and pals, stick around right now because, and by the way, I do want to say this again to you because I think it's very important to bring this up. Love your loved ones, okay? This show is dedicated to the memory of Gloria Morgan. And we give her all the love that we have. Does anybody really quickly want to say anything to Gloria's family, to Ed? Anybody? Really quickly, the floor is yours.
Well, definitely. Sorry, I just want to say really quick, I'm very, very sorry, Ed, and to Gloria's family and friends and loved ones. I was like shocked. I didn't even know that this happened. Gloria was such an amazing person. She would always comment and say nice things to me and to all of us. And it seemed like she really, she was a part of the family. She enjoyed watching and we enjoyed having her here. And Ed, you are a family as well. So if you need anything, let us know. And thank you, Gloria, for everything. And I'm very sorry to her family and friends.
Condolences all around. And she loved being here. She loved the show. I don't know that she ever missed one since she started.
Yeah.
Watching, and her comments were always intelligent and thoughtful, and we're gonna miss her.
I think Miranda put it best. This is a family. We are all on this journey together, and we are all going to miss Gloria. Love seeing her comments. My love goes out to her family, her friends, Ed. Big hug for you. We're going to miss you.
Yes.
And I'm going to read Mr. Kelly White, please.
It's always hard, losing anybody. But Gloria, we talked behind the scenes a few times, and I mean, she was nothing but as nice could be, complimentary, inspiring. And it's it's really sad to know that never gonna exchange those words with her again. And she's definitely gone too soon. Ed, family, my heart goes out to you guys. That's really all I can say, man.
Yeah. Briefly, Ed, love you, brother. Like I said, here, if you need to talk, text, distraction, anything, you let me know. I had the distinct pleasure of watching Gloria in a workshop and watch her perform, and she was just, she was just genuinely just beautiful. It emanated light, just a beautiful human being, and my heart and And condolences go out to her family. And we are a family, and we're here for you, Ed, if you need it.
Guys, please, if you missed the tribute video to Gloria, please feel free to watch it a bit later. We're always going to commemorate everyone who means so much to us. Ed, you said that you look forward to our shows, and you guys spoke about our topics throughout the week. Well, we speak about you guys throughout the week because you matter. You drive everything we do. You are the engine that makes this thing go. And Gloria, this one is for you, my friend. Rest easy, rest well. Say hi to Papa Klein for me. Guys and gals and pals, this is the outro, and it's a big one. Hope you enjoy.
In the world, but are you obsessed? Is it all you ever think about?
Let's try that. Let's try that one more time, guys and gals and pals. Let's try this thing one more time. We are experiencing a little bit of technical difficulties. Let me refresh this thing. I'll see you in a second.
It happens.
Yeah.
It does. But I've been watching the comments as they're coming up, and Julio's right. Ed, once part of the family, always part of the family. So
I love that.
Gloria,
TKN member, always TKN member.
Yeah.
And away we go.
Obsession's going to be talent every time. You got all the talent in the world, but are you obsessed? Is it all you ever think about?
I just have to say something. I have to. I have to. It's me. I have to be my real self. I know, Eric, and here's why. When you have 100 Hall of Famers and award winners, there isn't enough bandwidth for that. Sometimes that happens, pal. But hey, here's the good news. We're absolutely free. Isn't that awesome, Eric? Isn't that great?
Coming this way.
Jackie faced adversity every day, but he never let himself break. Instead, he used it to push forward, proving that strength isn't about retaliation. With all the death threats and all the stuff that he had to go through, it was about resilience.
Curveball hit right to Terry Shepard. He's going to get it. Brett Saberhagen pitches the first no-hitter of his career.
Because I think if you set a goal, something that is so extremely maybe out of your realm and kind of like it's going to take more work and effort to like achieve that, and you know it's almost like not accessible, I think that's also setting yourself up for failure in a way.
And I also created this must-see faction with 2 other women that I really brought up. And I got to see so many women develop their characters, and they're all like a lot, younger than me and really in the beginning of their careers. And to me, that was so important because it was so rewarding for me.
Anybody who's ever went through high school, which is everybody pretty much, can understand, or anybody who's ever had a first love, which is pretty much everybody, can understand that feeling of despair and heartbreak and resolve, trying to win her back. Character started out as me, like Raven was born of me, but then Raven became me, but then I became Raven. Like, because Raven took everything, all my negatives, and took it to the nth level, and so then I started feeling like I had to live up to Raven.
So they recruited within Florida, but they were getting the inner city kid. So it basically started with the first football coach of note. His name was Howard Schnellenberger. Can you imagine, particularly in this day, when collegiate athletes can accrue revenue from NIL, name, image, and likeness, what those Miami Hurricane players would have been getting? But they couldn't, because it was against the rules back then.
Yes, you too can be a Soul Train dancer.
What you talking about, man? This kid's hype, man. Not like that Kmart stuff you be wearing.
Kmart? This is not Kmart. This is JC's Penney's top of the line, buddy.
And the reason I think I took to this song, I found out later that it was one of the few Partridge Family songs that David Cassidy wrote completely on his own. I just like to quote it a little bit. Don't be surprised if someone real is found. You know I got feelings just like you. When I get lonely, I cry too. Can't you see I'm not a circus clown?
You know, I had felt, that through my own fault, really, that, my two kids doing Noel had become more involved in wrestling than I wanted them to, including being part of Beyond the Mat.
The mentoring of we say abandoned youth. I don't know if you're referring to ones that need to be adopted. I think adoption is a very important factor. I think that with getting good homes especially, and because this whole area, this whole subject is very touchy, because at the same time promoting wanting people to mentor the youth, I'm also very concerned of what type of people gravitate towards mentorships.
I'm not sure what's happening with Stargate. They did an online kind of fan financed Stargate deal that was kind of taking place in the early days, like the 1930s and stuff, when they first discovered the Stargate. I thought that was a really, really cool idea. Now if they try to do that as a full series, I don't. It'd probably be extremely expensive because of the period nature of it, But it's a great idea, and I would love to see a feature film version of that.
And they don't seem very successful to me.
Sure.
In fact, most of the people that we all admire, the elite, are the most miserable, horrible human beings on the planet. Where do you succeed? Where do you fail? If you're doing what you love to do, even if it's in obscurity, why do you care?
A couple of you, when you got to lock up or you get near each other, you would change levels at your waist, which means you'd lower yourself here. Never lower yourself here. Takes you off balance. Change levels at your knees. The Cowboys had very little success, but they had moderate success in 1970. But drafting one guy changed the whole dynamic of the way that they ran their offense. And there was a guy named Tom Landry who was hired to turn this horrible franchise into something.
Nobody ever said anything about going to Afghanistan, looking for one guy with a military. That's more of a policing type thing. Come to find out, he was never there anyway. And you're telling me you don't know that? Sometimes you got a rhythm, and wrestling a lot is a rhythm. And sometimes you have a rhythm with people, you know what I'm saying? And sometimes you don't. Sometimes it's just you're stepping on each other's toes, you know what I'm saying? If you're trying to dance with them. We just never had a rhythm with them, you know what I'm saying? Just never could get a rhythm.
Did you get that rhythm with the Nasty Boys?
Yeah, we had a good rhythm with the Nasty Boys.
What's the most important thing? Health. And I thank God every day that I had Christian people and smart people around me that said, Mark, it's not worth it. Even if somebody would have said, Mark, look, nobody will ever know. Here, take this. If I'd have had somebody like that around me, I wouldn't have listened to them.
I had to consult someone. First of all, I really am not a person who's ever been indecisive. I'm pretty decisive, but I would ask Sir Arthur Conan Doyle. He knows everything. He knew physics, he knew chemistry.
Totally out of control. And they say they actually live, the parents do, in fear of being hurt or even killed by their own child. I don't think this is when you're holding a baby in your arms. I don't think you think it would ever come to this. Today, the mothers say they're at the point where they're about ready to do the unthinkable. How do you get a divorce from your own child?
And never once do they go back in history and bring up the fact, is there a reason Iran dislikes us so much? And if they were to do that, they'd learn in the 50s that Iran had a democratic elected president who tried to nationalize their oil, which immediately then you incur the wrath of the United States of America.
Vince called one day and said, Jesse, you're good enough to get around now. You can't get back in the ring. He said, do you think you could do color commentating, be an announcer? He said, I want to try something new. And I said, you want me to announce? He said, there's never been a bad guy on the mic, someone who sides with the villains. And it was Vince's idea. He said, you think I said, I know I could do it.
And then be able to take off, come back, and have a splashdown in an ocean that's small as a pea with computers and the communication and being able to watch this all happen live on TV was just amazing. Well, you're still evaluating some players that, you're thinking about keeping or not keeping. You're finding out who your players are playing against another team, because it gets old after a while playing each other. So you really get to evaluate your starters as well as the fringe guys, who you're going to keep, who you're not going to keep. And you get to see other teams all in one area. It's really important.
I wouldn't say I would just willed myself into being an NBA player without the help of a lot of people, different coaches. And my dad was a big advocate for my, me getting to where I wanted to, where I was destined to be an NBA player.
The first person I would talk to is Jesus. He seems to be very important. And I would just tell him to just keep it down. People don't want to hear what you have to, it's a lot of trouble you're getting into.
I auditioned 5 times.
Unbelievable.
And each time nobody looked like Michael Richards except me. All different each time.
Wow.
Now, in the room, see, if you're supposed to get paid after 3. If you call you in the 4th, you get paid for it.
Oh, interesting.
So I didn't even bother with that. But each time I knew some of the people in the room, and it was always the same room, and it was always the same people.
I would just tell any historic person, that had passed away from this disease, that you didn't have to. And could I share? You call it craft in your question. In our path, we call it tools.
From watching and from getting into the costume, that this was going to be a real difficult job, physically, mentally, in terms of the acting. It was going to be a chore to get through this and to do, I think, as good a job as Peter Weller did in the first 2 films. My work was definitely cut out for me.
So he got a lot of people behind him, man. And I tell you, a lot of kids need to appreciate some of the things that not only Muhammad Ali, but a lot of people have done, and they can be helpful now. If the kids nowadays or the young people just appreciate what people like Muhammad Ali and everybody else that we're talking about here has done.
I think back in the day, we had better fights because we was in better shape. And these guys now, they're getting title shots after 15 bouts, 12 bouts and stuff like that. We was back, you had to have at least 25 or something like that. It was just a little tougher back then. It's tough nowadays too, because everybody has the new technology and they're using supplements and everything. You just got to stay with what's going on.